All right, hey, what's up? It's the Dropped Out Dev back with some news and analysis info, OSINT style. We're going to talk about today how not to do information analysis, and we're going to specifically talk about this story that is basically just going all over the place right now, making people freak out, and that's martial law on 420. The way I first heard about it was through this Kyle Kulinski video. We can briefly maybe go through it. I don't even know if we need to go through it, but I'll put a link to it if you want to watch it. Basically, he just goes through, he mentions this article, Martial Law on 420 from Jim Stewartson. Now, I know this guy, been following him for a number of years. He's been very vocal on a couple topics, a couple main topics, and fighting QAnon narratives, mostly up into including naming someone as who he thinks Q is. He's good at gathering information. Usually, I would say somewhat trustworthy, but he has like kind of one foot in the speculative realm there. And this particular article is like clickbait city. So basically, he's saying is Trump. He's saying, well, the tagline here, we can look at this. It's big, bold, and it's in yellow, and it says martial law, all caps, on 420. Now, any kind of mention of something martial law, dangerous topic, and a date, question mark. So this like pings your brain's threat response, so you're already going to be like in fight or flight mode when you see this. Your cortisol is going to be released, because we all know that is very scary. And then having a date there puts a little mystery into it, to where you're going to want to read more. You're going to want to, I mean, you have to, basically, because you have a threat out there, you have a date, it's close, it's like, So, going through, this isn't a very long article, but what it cites is, it cites this White House press release from early in Trump's presidency, and then, I gotta get out of that. And then, it goes into some more details, and I mean, we can read this. I'm not gonna read all of it. It's not very long, and that's it. It's like a couple paragraphs and some pictures of highlighted text. Not a lot of detail here, and he's claiming a big claim. This is what Kyle Kulinski based his whole video off of. It's 2 paragraphs or something, 2.5 paragraphs, and some pictures and some speculation. Let's see. 1.1 million views. And I know Reddit is going crazy over this right now. Other content creators are going ham and going all hog on this narrative. So we need to look into this. We are not going to jump to conclusions. We are going to look for a couple facts. So what is this thing that he's talking about? So we can pull this up. This is the same thing he's citing, and it says what Trump did is declared a national emergency, which that's not very nice, and I don't agree with that. And then what that gave, a bunch of stuff. It gave them the right to do aerial reconnaissance, which, if you've tracked flights, you know that they started doing, after this, and a bunch of other stuff. And there's reporting requirement, is kind of what he's lynching, like his whole story is written around this reporting. So he wants, within 90 days, to have the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a report. This doesn't say on 90 days, does it? This says within 90 days. It doesn't say that these are going to be public. They could have released these reports already. this 90-day thing that he highlighted is what he's saying that is this date. So he's basing this whole story off of this. Maybe he knows something we don't. I don't know, but I'm not going to make a big old statement based on within 90 days this report is going to be filed. Based on this report, they're going to decide what they want to do. It sounds like, to me, they've pretty much done everything they wanted to do, and this is highly focused on the border. I think, everything else that we're hearing about this is pure speculation. And it's sort of inflammatory to the point where I'm questioning a lot of things about this. And I was going to do a how to do information analysis video, but I think it's more important with where we're at right now to really take a step back from stories like this and make sure that we vet them. They're saying that he noted that 3 months, so he's just saying that, I know that 3 months, 90 days is 420, so therefore I'm going to write an article about it. And then he talks about marijuana culture, what, I guess Musk has a tweet here. Grok said something about, yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to hold my breath for this to happen. This was also saying that Musk's stock is tanking and that he's very worried about his unpopularity. These guys do not care about their unpopularity. We need to kill that idea. All this stuff about them worried about getting taken out by, having their narrative exposed or looking foolish or doing something dumb. They do not care about any of that. We don't want to spend time looking at that stuff or putting maybe false hope into they're gonna have some kind of change or something if they look foolish or if we call out their narrative for being false. They don't care about any of that. So this complete article is trash, in my opinion. There's nothing behind it other than a guy's speculation. Then Kyle Kalinske, great guy, puts out a video pretty much just parroting it. I think he says, you can believe what you want to believe, but he doesn't really take the time to look at the information and help us understand that it is a deadline for a report. And they got 1.1 million views. And if we go to other content creators that are have little short videos about it or whatever, they'll have a lot of views too. And it's unfortunate that people are getting their basically fight or flight response triggered because of a few people speculating. Are we in a very tense and dangerous emergency type situation? Yes. So knowing when to follow these threads and look at these things is super important. There's not enough time in the day to look at this stuff, and they want to distract and have you take up all of your time looking at this stuff. Don't do that. Set a timer, maybe have a time of day, maybe it's after you get off work. Look at this stuff for an hour, then put it away. Don't look at it for the rest of the day. Maybe, see all your threads or whatever, your notifications coming up on stories. Don't click on them and look at them. Okay? Unless it's you're sure it's a real big thing that I mean, unless like, I mean, just don't look at them till the next day. And then when your hour comes up, go back, look at the ones that you think are worth looking at. Don't look at each one. We're going to have to do this stuff as a community because, you know, if we have multiple people looking at this stuff and helping us, maybe we can have, you know, one person focus on local things from the East Coast that are going to be coming up, and one person looking at stuff that's coming out of Europe or something. I don't know. Stuff like that. Maybe look at a few of these headlines because you're going to get like 10 repeat headlines of the same thing. So try to say I'm going to look at 1 or 2 articles briefly or 1 or 2 videos on this stuff. If you can, like I like to get my information from a couple sources. Heather Cox Richardson's a really good one. You know, Malcolm Nance is a good one. Our teams that we know of are good for information analysis and helping us coalesce these ideas without having to, you know, go on and on and on down the rabbit hole of looking at every single thing. So you want to get a wrap up of events going for, you know, the previous couple days, maybe stuff like that. Yeah, those are some ideas that I have. Definitely set a timer. Do it for like an hour or 2 at the most per day. Even that, it's like pushing it. Also take breaks. I get busy on the weekends, so sometimes I didn't do anything yesterday, news-wise. Really just stayed away from it and let my brain, you know, have a little break. You know, I just watched gaming videos for a little bit and read a book, and like not a political book or not like a real heavy, like just a fluff book, just sci-fi or something interesting for my brain to have a little candy, a little something nice. Yeah, do things with your hands. Make something. Work on something. Fix something. Clean. Take care of yourself. That's it. I wanted to give some advice on what not to do, and I guess kind of at the end we wrapped up with kind of what to do. Again, we have to get good at finding the facts from these, and you know, assessing whether Mike Flynn is a jerk or not and going to lie to you. I mean, do we really need to do that? We all know that they're liars. Like, we don't need to focus on that. We know that a deadline for a report. That is what we know. Deadline for a report, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Homeland Security. We can maybe even assume that they've already given those reports and this was just a deadline. Maybe they're waiting for the very end of the deadline and it's going to come out. But also, oh yeah, I wanted to add, like, let's say this was true. This is a part of the analysis process too. Let's theorize, what if this was true? And worst case scenario, what would you do? What would you need to know if you know, April 18th and 19th, you wanted to know if this was happening? You might look for flights coming into your town or something. You might try to find how would this even happen? Like, maybe trains would bring in vehicles or something. Can you drive past rail yards in your area? You know, this would be like that kind of a large scale thing would be noticeable. If this is perhaps a strip of land that is right along the border that they are mostly concerned about, would we know about that? And actually, just the other day, an article came out that there's a strip of land that the military is taking control over near the southern border. So it's I mean, it's likely in my mind that that's connected to this and not like some wider thing. But of course, just to, like put a pin in it, that we always need to be having our heads on a swivel these days and do more of the things that you can analyze your actual threat in your area, and not the things that ping your, like, grab your eyeballs and grab your brain and make it, focus on these things and think too much about them. So shift that. So shift that time from doom scrolling, put that time into planning. Put that time into assessing your actual threat. Stuff like that. Anyways, that's it. Just a real quick one here. How not to doom spiral out on this stuff. Again, this is just a date. It is not some thing that we really have to worry about. End of the week, maybe we'll briefly look at flights and we'll circle back around on stream and say, oh, were we right? Is there anything going on that we really should be looking at? Stuff like that. All right, that's it. Remember, though the storm is howling, we go on and we go forward. Thank you.